This is so profound. In the one thing after another, after another, after another, after another, and picking up those signals, so perfect, the thing that I thought about talking about. But it's two things, so hopefully we can. So everything has changed in the last 6 months since I sat here last. And I'm so happy, and everything is right on track and falling into place, and it's just getting better and better. And
The most important thing is I'm having fun along the way.
Having fun.
Not so much on track for another culmination, okay, but on track because it's fun as I'm going along, yes?
Yes, it's fun. It's half of fun. It's fun. It could be funner, but it's fun. So I started a company. I'm starting schools, and it's due to hearing some of the broadcasting on Abraham Hicks audio, this type of school for kids, like might as well be a Vortex School. So it's exciting, it's phenomenal, and it's amazing. And so when I see my future and what I'm experiencing in the beginning stages of something just so what was out of my league my whole life, it's just incredible. And so the millions of dollars that I want, everything's going to fall into place. But I kind of want to fine-tune that money thing, my beliefs. Because when I thought about coming here, I thought, what has been such a deep-rooted belief in me for a very long time that I would want assistance with? And I think it has to do with money.
Well, you see, what happens to so many of you is that, so we want to go back to this. Do you accept the concept of this vortex even though you can't see it? So you know that there are vibrations there that are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, even though you can't see it, and maybe you're beginning to feel them. Mm-hmm. And so, do you accept the concept that these vibrations become big enough that they become a thought or an idea, like, I'm going to start a school, and you feel the exhilaration of that, so you know you were in the receiving mode of that. Mm-hmm. So, do you understand that, yes, maybe, and we're putting a big maybe on this because it doesn't have to be this way. Maybe along your path, a whole lot of money will come into place to help you. Maybe. But if you can take money out of the equation and start cashing in your vibrational currency, because it doesn't take money for you to get the idea, and it doesn't take money for you to practice the idea, and it doesn't take money for you to be happy, and it doesn't take money for you to be in the receptive mode, and one thing leads to another and leads to another and leads to another, and maybe somewhere down the way there will be money that will come into the equation that will cause it to spike in a stronger way. But if you're hung up on getting to the money before you've moved down there, then you prevent yourself from moving down the vibrational path. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. Part of the component is money is now a big part of everything. Accepting money from others and setting prices for things, and I just want everything to be free, and it's just, but I can't have everything free for everybody, and so I'm concerned that I've got some root beliefs around money that's going to inhibit me or other people. I'm in position to actually...
That's why we're asking you to take money out of the equation, because everybody has those money hang-ups.
Okay.
Almost everybody. All kinds of people talk to us, and many of them are not talking to us that we are just aware of, who have wonderful experiences, like our friend with the oboe, where they have found their alignment and they have become creative genius. They're flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing. And then they reach the place where they want to sell it or market it, and that's when they get bogged down almost every time. Because it didn't take money to dream it, and it didn't take money to feel it, and it didn't take money to practice, and it didn't take money to create it, and it didn't take money to become brilliant. You see what we're getting at? But then they come to this big stumbling block that they and others have built, the barricades, that says, well, now if you're going to go further, it's going to require this. When Jerry and Esther began, Esther made Jerry promise that he wouldn't tell anybody because she didn't want this weirdness to get out. And so, as time went by, and they were having benefit from it, Jerry said, what do you think about us just setting some events around the nation? They had a small newsletter that they were sending out. Everything was word of mouth. And he said, we'll go to about 30 or 40 cities. And so he got a Courtyard Marriott book that was printed that showed where all the Courtyard Marriotts were. And he just circled the cities that he thought there would be enough population that there might be someone interested in coming and having a dialogue with Abraham. And Jerry said, it has to pay for itself. So as long as there's enough revenue to buy our airline tickets and our rental car and our sleeping room and the meeting room, then we'll stay in balance and off we'll go. And so they circled them and they deduced a price that they would charge, and it would take 20 people in order to cover all of that. And so there was no vibrational imbalance within them. Now they had other money. They had money from other business enterprises. But Jerry says, in order for us to know that this is working, it has to pay for itself. But he also knew that it was smart not to get his business bigger than his business. So they didn't rent the convention center.
Okay.
And they didn't buy a private jet. Esther's still pretty mad about that. And so what you want to do, you want to take money out of the equation. You want to just make sure that you are in balance.
Okay.
Because the thing that keeps almost everyone who has the potential of a magnificent fulfillment of their creative dream is that they put money, which they have been railing against for all of their life, in the middle of the equation, and then they use that as the reason not to be in the receptive mode, and then they don't match up with all of the things along the way that would lead them to what they want. So many people look at situations like what you're talking about, or anything in life, and if the motive to do it is the money, then they trip themselves up right away. If the desire to do it is coming from your desire to connect and then assist others in connecting, that's a whole other thing, you see. Keep the money out of the equation and watch what happens.
Okay, so I can just not even think about it. If I get hung up, I can just focus on something else, keep myself happy, chill, all those wonderful things.
Well, if you accept the premise that your goal is to be in the receptive mode, and when you think about some things, it's easy to go there. And when you think about other things, it's difficult to go there. And when you think about money, it's difficult to go there. So you don't think about the things that make it difficult for you to go there.
Okay.
If you accept that it's not money you want, it's receptive mode. And if money's keeping you from receptive mode, then it's counterproductive. After a while, money won't keep you from receptive mode. It'll just be more of the natural process of things. It'll be the way that you expand. It'll be the way that you do more things. It'll be the way that you live life in a fuller way. It will be a way that you enjoy the happiness that you've found already in a stronger way.
Yeah.
But you have to ask yourself, is the concept of money, the idea of money, the conversation of money, is it conducive to being in the receptive mode? If it is, then focus on it. If it isn't, then don't focus on it, or anything else for that matter.
Okay.
If you have a friend who has never believed in you, don't focus on that friend. If you have a friend who always believed in you, focus on that friend.
Right.
You see what we're getting at?
Yes.
So it's the cart before the horse thing. That's why people look for venture capitalists all the time. And venture capitalists who have money to spend. So venture capitalists evaluate the risk factor, and they give their money to startup projects. And in the majority of cases, in far and away the majority of cases, the venture capitalists lose their money because the startup company was only looking for money. They didn't have the momentum of what they really wanted to go that took them further. You see?
Right.
Get that momentum going and the money will follow. Yeah. Don't ask for the money first.
Right. Okay. Can I ask one more thing?
Helpful? Was that helpful?
I feel a little bit like Jerry when you talk about relax, go meditate, and within about 30 seconds his hand is tapping and he's writing his notebook. But Esther relaxes and enjoys, and so I want to find my Esther. Who's my Esther? Because you talk so much about everybody has access to Abraham and the source energy, and I've been calling you. And so maybe Jerry didn't receive.
Maybe you're thinking of us like the money. You're calling something that you don't believe is there for you. In other words, it's there for Esther, but maybe it's not there for me.
Yeah.
But it is there for you. In other words, when Esther began this, she wasn't looking for anything. She was just encouraged to meditate and quiet her mind. And when she did, it felt good, so she did it some more.
But if I'm like Jerry and I'm asking.
Well, the thing is, Jerry was very contemplative. He spent many hours in contemplation. But once contemplation happened, once he came into alignment, then ideas would begin to flow. And once the idea became to flow, that's when he wanted to begin to write about it and do something about it. He just didn't want to lie there with a quieted mind.
Right.
His quieted mind put him in the receptive mode. And once he was in the receptive mode, off he went. You see. So really, if you're wanting to tell this story accurately, it just took less to get Jerry in the receptive mode than it did Esther. Because Jerry had powerful desire. Esther was just living happily ever after.
Right.
Jerry was the asker in the equation. Esther was the allower in the equation.
Right. So where's my Esther? Did you speak to Jerry like you speak to Esther?
But you see, you don't need someone specifically in your life. You have access to all of this. Everything that you need to know, you're hearing here.
Yes.
And as Jerry was hearing here.
But I can't come here every day. So...
Well, you're arguing for limitations unnecessarily, don't you think?
Okay.
There isn't anything that you've heard that you can't remember.
I want to connect more. I want to hear more clearly.
But you see, this is one of the best parts about you being here, is that you are demonstrating in a very profound way what it looks like and what it feels like when you want something that you're not letting in. And so you got to get off the subject. I want that thing I cannot have. I want that thing I cannot get. I want that thing I cannot have. I want that thing I cannot get. I need the money. I need the money. I want the thing I cannot have. I want that. And so you're putting stipulations on things that don't need stipulations. So what you want to do is look at how often you know the energy is flowing. Don't you?
Yes.
So when was the last time you were in this hot seat?
6 months ago.
And how many people were in that room?
Same.
And how many people are in this room?
Same.
And yet you keep getting in the hot seat? It's time to stop complaining.
Okay. Okay. I'm complaining. Okay. So when I find myself wanting, just get off the subject? Same thing for everything?
When wanting feels tense, then you're not in the receptive
But it feels
mode.
exciting. It feels
Well, that's different. Exciting and tense are two different things.
Okay.
But you're demonstrating some of both as you're sitting here.
Right.
So
I'm still all over the place, just like 6 months ago.
Well,
But not so much.
it's nice to feel excited about what you want, but you're trying too hard. And what you're demonstrating, this is right where this message is. This is right where the evolution of what Abraham is teaching is all about. That's why you're the perfect person to have a conversation with, because you help us say something that so many people are really ready and wanting to hear. And that is, this business of being in the receptive mode is not about effort. It's about chilling. It's not about making it happen. It's not about cheerleading and rah-rah. It's not about goosing it up. It's not about words. It's about relaxing and getting into the receptive mode. And so then you say, well, I'm not very good at that. And we say, that's what you want to work on. You want to get better at that. Here's a good thing for you to say to yourself. Put yourself in a place that feels good to you. Maybe by the water, maybe with an open view.
Redwoods.
And a place that's not hard to get to. A place that you can get to easily, really easily.
In my mind?
No, physically. Put yourself there physically.
Okay.
And relax into the beauty of it.
Okay.
And then ask this question often. Am I in the receptive mode? Am I in the receptive mode? Now, what will happen is, if you're really in the receptive mode, sometimes you'll feel chill bumps come over you. Some of you felt them just now. Sometimes you'll feel chill bumps come over you, but sometimes ideas will begin to flow. And you can feel by the steady rhythm of them that you are in the receptive mode. Because you know from watching Esther, as Esther is allowing Abraham to flow through her, that this is not a jerky or sporadic experience. This is a streaming consciousness that flows. That's what receptive mode is. And you've been in the receptive mode when those ideas come. Just don't get ahead of yourself. When the idea comes, enjoy the idea. Don't try to bring it to full fruition. Don't try to get your game plan all planned out. Don't try to present it in a way that you can right now, today, take it to Shark Tank and get money.
Yeah.
In other words,
Right.
It's not like that.
Okay.
Just enjoy the receptive mode. That's what we were saying to our friend who plays the oboe. Enjoy the experience. Don't try to get too far down the road. Don't try to figure out how many jobs you'll have and how long they'll last and what you'll be paid and what great orchestras you'll get to be a part of. That's too far down the road. Okay. And when you're asking for information that's too far down the road, you always lose your way. Just enjoy yourself right where you are. Am I in the receptive mode? And watch what happens.
Okay.
You're going to enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.